There are also limits of how much you can contribute to your TFSA each year in its totality. The limit was $5,000 a year when TFSAs were introduced in 2008. It was raised to $5,500 a year in 2013, raised again to $10,000 in 2015, and then lowered back to $5,500 in 2016. A change in the federal government triggered the reduction. You don't lose the contribution room if you don't use it. You can make up those missed contributions in future years as long as your total contributions do not exceed the maximum allowed. In 1859, a fellow named Thomas Austin had a couple dozen rabbits shipped from Europe to his farm in Australia, where he released them with the innocent intention of hunting them just as he had done when he lived in England. By the 1920s, estimates pegged the Australian rabbit population to be approximately 10 billion bunnies, from a start of only 24. It's a silly but powerful example of what can happen when numbers compound upon themselves. However, instead of compounding interest making your money grow, it's an example of compounding copulation. Does this mean you can put $24 in the bank and retire with $10 billion in 60 years? Unfortunately, no. The rabbit population in Australia grew at a ridiculous average annual rate of 39.3%, and that's with millions of amorous varmints being shot every year. Not even Bernie Madoff would promise that kind of return, I think. Let's look at something a little more realistic. You're living in England during a future European zombie apocalypse. Because Europe is an island, it has been spared from the zombie infestation so far, and have no zombies other than the royal family and the Rolling Stones living dead in the country. However, your neighbors in France have been completely overrun with zombies. In order to deal with their ever increasing zombie problem, France secretly starts shipping 100 zombies over the English Channel each week and releasing them into the lovely countryside. Stay with me here. Each week, England receives 100 new zombies. This continues for the next 40 years. The good news is that England's new zombies aren't very hungry by the usual zombie standards. They aren't nearly as good at making new zombies as the rabbits were at making new rabbits. In fact, on average, only 6 out of every 100 zombies chow down on a British citizenry annually, zombifying them into new zombies. How many zombies would be in England after 40 years? RRSP. Don't pay tax now. Grows tax free inside. Pay taxes later. TFSA. Pay taxes now. Grows tax free inside. Don't pay taxes later. So, which is better? First of all, they are both great products, and either one is an excellent way to save for your long term future. I should also point out that in a perfect world, we would all contribute the maximum allowed to both our RRSPs and our TFSAs every year. That would make for a world class retirement. It really would. And if you earn a 7-digit salary, live in a tent, or really like craft dinner, that's the way to go. However, most of us will have to choose one, or the other, or perhaps both, a combination of both. Some folks suggest the TFSA is a better option for lower income earners. The rationale is that an RRSP can only offer modest tax savings for those with a lower income. That makes sense. Also, when the money is withdrawn in RRSP in retirement, you might be in a slightly higher tax bracket than you were when you put the money in, and thus you would have to pay more tax. Again, that makes sense, especially makes sense if you were smart and started your RSP early, because when you retire, you will have a lot more money in there to withdraw. Alternately, if a lower income earner chooses a TFSA, they have already paid the tax on the money they contribute, presumably at a lower tax rate. When they withdraw the money later at a higher tax bracket, they don't have to pay any tax on it at all. Therefore, in real dollar tax savings, it's possible the TFSA can offer more. So, is that the way to go? Perhaps, but I'm still not completely sold. While it's true that younger, lower income earners can possibly save more tax overall by putting their money in TFSAs rather than RRSPs, they won't realize those tax savings until they're older. However, with RRSPs, they get the tax savings now, when they are younger. Lower income earners and likely need it more. The tax savings today can help them and fund their RRSP contributions. They may have student loans to pay. They may be trying to save for a house. They undoubtedly have bills to pay, or they might be starting a family. Diapers aren't cheap. On the other end, the tax burden at retirement won't hurt them as much because their incomes will be higher, which is, after all, why they have the higher tax rate. They also won't need the tax break as much. The house is paid for. The kids are gone. The car insurance costs a lot less. Look at it this way: all the other things being equal, all other things being equal. Would you rather get a $1,000 windfall at age 27 when you're trying to scrape together a down payment for a house, or a $1,300 windfall at age 70 when you have close to $1 million in savings? Another reason I favor RRSPs over TFSAs under most circumstances, once again, has to do with taxes. I'm stating pretty clearly that starting your retirement savings as early as possible is one of the cornerstones of a responsible financial plan, and I'll stand by that. However, there are temptations in life. New car, nice vacations. Who doesn't want a boat? And you wouldn't be human if you weren't at least tempted to dig into your retirement savings, despite all the proclamations I'm about to make that you should not. If that temptation strikes, and you have a weak moment while your retirement savings are inside a TFSA, your money is really easy to get at. Tax free, as in too easy to get at. Way too easy to get at. The very thing that makes them attractive also makes them dangerous. They're the black widow of financial products. However, if you take money out of your RRSP early, the tax man is going to nail you. Hard. Painfully hard. They will take up to 30% of your money at source before you even see it. That will cost you $4,500 in taxes on a $15,000 withdrawal. Ouch. I'm concerned that people who choose to save for retirement with TFSAs over RRSPs may not be able to resist rating them because they won't have to pay any taxes when they do. But with RRSPs, you haven't paid the taxes yet. So hopefully those taxes will act as a deterrent to dipping in. Tax is good. I can't believe I wrote that. All said, my preferred strategy is to take full advantage of your RRSP to save for your retirement. Start early and leave it alone. Then use your TFSAs to save for other stuff in the short term, like a down payment on a house, a great vacation, or a new boat. There would be 824,627 zombies in England after the 40 years. Wait a minute. If France only sent 100 zombies a week, obviously that would mean 5,200 new zombies every year. Even if you multiply that number by 40 years, you only get 208,000 zombies. Where did the rest come from? Welcome to the awesome power of compounding zombies. Technical term? Zombamification factor? Does that mean that if you put $100 a week in your RSP every week for 40 years, you get an average rate of return of 6% over those years, that you'll get $824,627 in your RSP? Yes, it does. Even though you only put in $208,000? Yep. Really? Really? It's difficult at first to fully appreciate the remarkable power of time and compound interest. It just doesn't seem possible that numbers can grow upon themselves that much. However, if you give them enough time, they do. Compound interest is a rare example of it's too good to be true that really turns out to be that good. But it needs time to work its magic. Jennifer is 25 years old and lands a job with a salary of $34,000 per year. She's very smart, so she immediately goes to her bank and opens an RSP and starts contributing $117.69 per week. She continues to pay herself that $117.69 every week for the next 40 years, or until she turns 65. Her money grows at the same rate that the British zombie population grew, 6% annually. How much money would Jennifer have after 40 years? $970,504. Yes, that is nearly $1 million. Really? Really. Consider this. After only 10 years, Jennifer will have accumulated $82,942. That is pretty cool, as she only contributed $61,199. The rest was generated through